My mom ripped my wedding dress. You can't outshine your sister. She has to be the star. But then my grandma walked in. Sweetheart, did she give you the dress I got married in? My mom went pale and chaos started. I was standing on a stool in my mother's living room, pins in my mouth, when she gripped the silk at my waist and hissed, "You cannot upstage your sister, Amanda. Be reasonable." The silk didn't survive the lecture. It tore with a soft, horrible sound like paper underwater. My mom blinked once, then let the ripped panel fall. "See," she said, voice sugar sweet. "Now it's simpler. My name is Amanda. I'm 31. I'm a stylist, the kind who spends mornings steaming gowns in back rooms that smell like starch and coffee, and afternoons pinning clients into dreams they didn't have the words for. In my family, I'm the fixer, the background one, the she'll handle it. I keep emergency bobby pins in my car, stain remover in my purse, and everyone else's timelines on my phone. I rent a small apartment above a bakery. My fiancé, Daniel, teaches physics and forgets where he put his keys. I cut his hair on Sundays. I water my neighbor's plants when she travels. I text my clients reminder photos of their looks, because anxiety is cheaper to prevent than to redo. My older sister, Mia, is the golden one. She walks into rooms, and people rearrange themselves around her. Our mother calls her my son. Our brother, Ben, has 2 little boys and a laugh that can project across a parking lot. The family orbit is crowded. I am the quiet satellite that keeps schedules. That afternoon, I was home for a quick fitting before my wedding, which was 6 weeks away. I'd made the dress myself, nothing flashy, an A-line with a barely their train neckline. But the silk wasn't new. It was my grandmother's wedding dress, stored in cedar for decades, carefully unpicked and pressed flat, so I could remake it into something that finally felt like me. Mom circled me with a measuring tape, frowning. "Mia's hair trial is at 4 o'clock. We can't keep her waiting." "It's my fitting," I said softly. She looked offended. "Don't be dramatic." Mia scrolled on the couch, toes painted ballet pink. She said, I love simple, but the structure is intense, like a couture thing. People will stare. It's a wedding." I said. "People stare at the bride." Mom pinched a dart a little too hard. "We're a family. We share the spotlight." She glanced at Mia. "And your sister is emceeing. The photographer needs to know where to point." I took a breath. I already gave the photographer a timeline. "Right." But she murmured, tugging the silk again. "Your silhouette. If you loved your sister, you'd consider chiffon." "Mom, this is my dress." "That is a phase. Mia's brand is timeless." She yanked. The fabric split. I flinched. Mia gasped. For one suspended second, my body remembered every tiny indignity. The birthdays folded into other people's parties. The be a sport. Whatever something of mine became something community. It was just a seam. It wasn't just a seam. "Mom," I said carefully. "You ripped it." She straightened, unbothered. "I saved you from a mistake." She turned to Mia. "Now, sweetheart, show me that lip color." "Peony," Mia said, holding up a tube. I swallowed. I needed those 2 hours. "You'll fix it. You always do." Then a voice from the hallway. My grandmother, slipping off her gloves. "Am I interrupting?" Mom's smile froze. "Mother, we're busy." Grandma's eyes went to the torn silk, then to me. They softened. "Sweetheart, ex-heart. Did she give you the dress I got married in?" My mom went pale. Mia looked up, confused. "What dress?" Grandma's gaze didn't leave my mother. The one I stored in cedar and asked to be kept for a granddaughter who would love it. Silence puddled at her feet. The timeline on my phone glowed 358. Mia's hair trial, my seam, my breath. Something had shifted. Let me back up. I grew up in a house where attention was currency, and I kept the books no one read. When Mia won a middle school dance trophy, the living room became a shrine. When I got into cosmetology school on a scholarship, Mom said, "Practical. You'll always have a trade." When Ben's first baby was born, we built a nursery in our old den. When I moved out, Mom kept my room as overflow storage. Receipts. I could fill a kit with them. Age 9. Mia's piano recital fell on my birthday. Well, dear cake after, Mom said. After was a day later when the frosting slid and my name was spelled with one M. Close enough, she chirped. Age 16. I saved up for a sewing machine. It went missing at Thanksgiving because Mia needed it for a last-minute costume. She's only borrowing, Mom said, handing me a plastic bag of mismatched thread like an apology. Age 24. Ben lost his job. I moved back in for 6 months to help with the boys. That became 2 years. I cooked, I cleaned, I paid the water bill. We're a team, Mom said. Then put a gold star sticker next to Mia's name on the chore chart she laminated for nostalgia. The big one, the house. 5 years ago, Dad's old place, our family home, was going to be sold. He'd left years prior. The mortgage remained $330,000. We can't lose the house, Mom sobbed. Your grandparents built those stairs with their own hands. Ben had 2 kids. Mia needed space to create. I was freelancing, hustling. Every month a puzzle. Okay, I said. I'll help cover the mortgage while you refinance. 6 months. It turned into 5 years. Autopay $1,847 on the 15th. Extra $200 when the roof leaked. I kept spreadsheets. I kept quiet. Why, people ask. Because families say we and mean you if you're the one who can take a hit. Because I told myself I was keeping history safe. Because I believed honestly that when I said I'm doing this, so we all have a home, someone would someday say thank you. I have receipts. Email from the bank .0517. Subject line. Subject line. Payment received. I took screenshots. I saved PDFs. Group text 0802. Mom, Amanda, Hero got the extension because they see regular payments. I screen capped the heart reacts. Note on the fridge. 12:14, Amanda groceries. I'll Venmo later. She didn't. I paid cash. I kept the receipt. Then 3 months ago, I noticed a detail. I was pinning a client in her condo when a clause in her HOA packet caught my eye. Ownership schedule, updated deed, recorded. Something about the phrasing updated deed scratched at my brain. I went home and pulled the folder labeled house mortgage, thick, rubber-banded, corner bent from years of shoving it back into drawers. I called the county recorder's office. Can I request a copy of the deed? The clerk asked for parcel numbers. I had them. She said, do you want the original or the updated? Updated, I said casually, like my heart wasn't sprinting. When the PDF arrived, I sat at my tiny kitchen table with a highlighter like it was a client's garment contract. There it was, 2 signatures. My mother's, my brother Ben's. Clause 4.7 Grantaire reserves right to assign beneficial use to dependent family members. The old deed where my name had been added as co-signer for refinancing support was replaced a year earlier. My name wasn't on the new document ownership listed Benjamin Hall, primary Michael Hall minor Oliver Hall minor, as joint tenants with right of survivorship. Mom had gifted the house to Ben and his boys. She didn't tell me. I found out because I read the clause on a stranger's HOA packet and something inside me remembered the way legal language creases. I scrolled group texts. Nothing. I scrolled emails. We'll handle paperwork. Mom wrote last year. Don't stress. My rent was due the next day. I'd paid the mortgage 2 days before. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I started building a quiet folder deed_updated, .pdf emails_health family, .pdf text_thread export, .html. I requested bank statements. I printed every payment received. I underlined clause 4.7 and wrote in the margins beneficial use does not equal ownership. Then circled the phrase consideration $10 and love. $10 and love. Meanwhile, wedding planning. Mia offered to cock I can keep it fun. Mom insisted we do the family photos before my ceremony because the boys get cranky. She vetoed my idea of a long table and suggested stations more dynamic. When Daniel and I tried to set boundaries, no microphones during dinner, no wardrobe changes, Mom said, "You're overthinking it. This family knows how to host." 2 weeks after I saved the deed PDF, Mom texted, "Bring your dress on Saturday for fitting. Mia needs to plan her looks around it." Her looks. I brought the dress. I brought my patience. I left with a rip and a grandmother's question that turned my stomach cold. The breaking point was not a scream. It was a zipper. A week after the fitting, we had an engagement brunch at my aunt's. 30 people, K-ish, kids sticky with jam place cards written in my mother's looping script. Mia wore white. It's Lennon, she said when I looked. Different category. Halfway through, Mom clinked a glass. Everyone, quick announcement. We have a plan for the house, so the boys are secure and Mia can focus on her career. She looked at me. Performative. Amanda agrees. Of course. I set my fork down. Mom, I said softly. Can we not do this here? She smiled. Transparency builds trust. Then be transparent, I said. Calm, controlled. Tell them when you removed my name from the deed. Conversations went brittle. Forks hovered. Mom's face smoothed. You're mistaken. I reached into my tote, the one with the tape measure and safety pins, and pulled out a slim folder. Daniel squeezed my knee under the table. We're not here to fight, he whispered. I know, I whispered back. We're here to end the pretending. I slid a printed copy across to her deed_updated.pdf yellow highlight on a signed beneficial use pink tab on signature page, underlined, executed, and recorded last year. Ben shifted in his chair. What is this ownership? I said of the house I've paid the mortgage on for 5 years. Mom laughed lightly. She's misreading. Clause 4.7, I said, study, defines beneficial use, not co-ownership. And Exhibit C, I flipped the page, shows removal of my name as cosigner once the refinance cleared. You filed it the same week. I sent the extra $200 for the roof. A murmur, the kind that tastes like metal. Mia set down her mimosa. Oh, come on. Ben has kids. She turned to me. You don't even want children. I breathed. This isn't about children. It's about consent and disclosure. I met Ben's eyes. Did you know my name was on the earlier deed and isn't now? He swallowed. Mom said you didn't care. I slid another sheet, a screenshot of our group chat. Mom, 6 months ago, Amanda's fine. She's independent. My reply beneath it, blue bubble. I need to talk about the house soon. No response. I'd starred the message. Receipts. Grandma cleared her throat. I told her, she said softly, surprising everyone, not to play children against each other with property. Mom's cheeks flushed. Mother. And the dress, the one your great-grandmother hand-stitched, and I asked to save. She looked at me. She gave it to Mia to cut into a costume in college. A phase, she called it. Her eyes returned to my mother. You never told Amanda, because you thought Amanda wouldn't make a fuss. The room tilted. Mia blinked. Mom said it was some thrift thing. Then, quieter. I didn't know. Mom's voice sharpened. What matters is we've secured the house for the next generation. Amanda has her own life. My life was 26 auto payments a year and painting the porch at 11 p.m. So we didn't get an HOA fine. Ben ran a hand through his hair. This is getting theatrical. No, I said, this is precise. I folded my hands. I'm not asking for applause. I'm asserting boundaries. Mom's mouth flattened. Like you did with that absurd dress. I looked at her. You ripped my dress because you couldn't stand me taking up any space that wasn't in service to you, or Mia. My tone stayed even. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. Silence felt strange and heavy. I took a breath. Here's what's going to happen. I'm stepping back from the house. I will no longer pay the mortgage. A couple cousins coughed. I continued, measured. I've retained counsel to document contributions to principal over the last 5 years. We'll send a letter outlining options, reimbursement, equitable lien, or sale. We can do it quietly, Aunt Joan whispered. Equitable lien security interest, I said without looking away from my mother. Against the property for the money I put in. Mom's eyes flashed. You wouldn't. You already did, I said gently. You made your choices. I'm making mine. My phone buzzed on the table. A message from Mia popped up. Then another. Then a third, each a different version of, are you really doing this? Across the table, Ben held his fork like a shield. Grandma reached for my hand under the linen. Finally, she murmured. Mom stood up. If you walk out of this family over a misunderstanding, don't come crawling back when you realize you've overreacted. I stood up, too. I'm not walking out. I'm standing up. The zipper sound. It was my tote closing over the stack of paper as 23 unread messages lit my screen. Pressure is loud when you stop absorbing it. In the 48 hours after brunch, my phone tallied 36 missed calls from Mom, 19 from Ben, 12 from Mia, 7 from numbers I didn't recognize that turned out to be aunts. The messages varied in flavor. You're selfish. Think of the boys. You're ruining this family. We're embarrassed. Money isn't everything. You owe us an apology. At 2:14 a.m., a long one for Mom. You are not the victim. I sacrificed my youth. Stop telling grandma lies. I muted the thread. I didn't yell back. I hired a lawyer. On Monday, I sat in a tidy office that smelled like lemon oil and paper. Miss Ruiz wore gray and listened without interrupting. I showed her the folder. I walked her through Clause 4.7, the timeline, the payments, the text threads. She asked one question. Did you intend these payments as gifts? No, I said they were to preserve shared property with the understanding we were co-owners. She nodded. We'll ask for a constructive or equitable lien for your contributions, and if needed petition by sale. But first a letter. She met my eyes. We'll keep the tone cool. We sent the letter certified. We copied the deed. We itemized payments. 1,847 * 60 months plus extras equals a number that made my stomach twist. And then strangely relax. Numbers tell the truth when people won't. Simultaneously, I called a tailor I trust and booked time. On her big worked. I unpicked the torn seam of my dress, pressed fresh interfacing, and recut the panel from extra yardage I'd stashed exactly because life isn't a straight line. I pinned in silence. I stitched like breathing. Mom escalated. She created a new group chat called Family Emergency and added relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. She posted a photo of the boys in front of the house. They may lose their home because someone is making demands. I did not respond in the thread. Through Miss Ruiz, I sent a second letter that was almost boring in its neutrality. Mia called 4 times. On the 5th, I answered. Please don't ruin everything, she said without preamble. The timing is awful. My brand has a sponsor coming to the wedding. Your brand, I repeated. Mia, I asked for transparency. Ben didn't know all the legal stuff, she said. Mom kept it to protect everyone. Mom kept it to protect control, I said. And I'm done funding narratives I'm excluded from. Wow, she said quietly. You've changed. I stopped apologizing for existing. That's different. She sniffed. So, you're fine with my MC notes being cut? Mom said you're banning speeches. I asked for dinner to be about Daniel and me, not a variety show. I kept my tone even. You can toast after cake. You're punishing me, she said. I'm giving you a boundary. It's new. I get that. Calls kept coming. Then the aunts switched tactics. The soft guilt. Families don't keep score. Your mother is fragile. Ben's boys will remember who saved their house. In parallel, Ben texted once. Can we meet? No lawyers. I met him at a coffee shop in the middle of a weekday when the place was mostly laptops and the hiss of milk steam. He looked older than 33. I didn't know about the deed removal until after. He said, eyes on his cup. Mom said you didn't care about owning. She also said I'd keep paying, I said. He rubbed his face. Mandy, I'm drowning. Daycare, shoes, you know. If we lose the house, I don't want you houseless. I want fairness. He looked up. What do you want? Reimburse principal contributions or give me a recorded lien, then refinance without me? He exhaled. I can't write a check that big. We can do a payment plan, I said. Or sell. Or Mom can refinance and cover the difference she called love. He laughed short and pained. She'll never. Then pick the lien. I said it protects us both. He nodded slowly. I'll talk to her. Meanwhile, Daniel set tea on my nightstand every evening, like a ritual. He would ask, how many today? Nodding at my phone. 28, I would say. Or 18, or only 4. He would nod, Progress. In the quiet, my nervous system recalibrated. I slept through the night for the first time in months. I woke without a pit in my stomach. I bought groceries without doing mortgage math in my head. I put my dress on the form and admired the clean line where the rip had been. I allowed space for anger, then let it drain off like rinse water. A week after the letter, Grandma called. She said, "Come by. I found something." Her apartment smells like lavender and starch. On her dining table, a garment box sat like a reliquary. She opened it. Tissue, cedar, something old and soft. A veil delicately applied. "Your great-grandmother's," she said. "Your mother gave the dress away, but she didn't find this." I touched the netting. "It's beautiful." She smiled. "Wear it if you want or don't, but know that not everything can be stolen by people who mistake control for love." I drove home with the veil in my lap and a feeling like air finally reaching the back corners of a room. By Friday, Miss Ruiz had a reply from Mom's attorney and Uncle's friend with a free AOL email, which would have been funny if it weren't so predictable. The letter called me ungrateful, said my payments were gifts, and threatened to go public with family disputes. Miss Ruiz sent them a 3S sentence response with 4 exhibits and an invitation to discuss terms. No heat, no drama. On Saturday, I turned my phone off for 6 hours. I made soup. I read a book. I tried the veil on with a t-shirt and sweatpants and cried alone in my kitchen. Not because of the veil, but because quiet can feel like grief when you're used to being loud for other people. On Sunday, Ben texted, "Mom says, no, I'll take the lean." "Okay," I wrote back. "Miss Ruiz will draft." He replied with a single thumbs up. Then, after a minute, "I'm sorry." I stared at the dot, and said nothing because sometimes you don't plug holes other people drilled. A month later, our wedding was small, deliberate, in a gallery courtyard. Daniel wore navy, my dress FIC clean and true. Grandma pinned the veil. Mia and Sage skipped the mic. Ben sat in back, cried the vows, left to pick up the boys. Mom didn't come. 11:04 a.m. I refused to witness disrespect. 11:06 I hope you don't regret this. Then silence. I married someone who sees me as a person, not a resource. We ate cake, slow danced, let disposable cameras catch the rest. No speeches.